All right, so we have some exciting news that Fire FC is now part of a league called JPL. It stands for Junior Premier League. This is a national league that's from the National Premier League, MPL. It's kind of confusing with all these acronyms, but and this league is part of something called U.S. Club Soccer. So starting this fall, Fire FC will take part in this league. We'll do this in addition to the CSA league that we've always done. But this league will provide 8 to 10 more games, and it provides an opportunity to win the league and then play in a national tournament. There'll be 3 play dates, and we can kind of go over those in a minute, but the 3 play dates, one will be in Denver in October. So it'll be, let me look, October 11th through 13th. There'll be one in December 20th through 22nd. That one will be in Mesa, Arizona. The first one will be at Dick's Sports Park, the one in October 11th through 13th. And then the third event will be something that we kind of organize on their own with a team that's somewhat close to us. So there'll be teams from Utah, there'll be teams from the Denver area, and there could possibly be another state that's included. I'm not sure yet on all the teams. So this is the second year of this league, and we're excited to join it. At Fire FC, we know we have a lot of quality players, especially when they get to the high school level, who just aren't being seen. So what's really exciting about this JPL is that they're going to have a couple of these showcase events that they're trying to kind of align with leagues like ECNL, MLS Next, the Girls Academy program. So if these teams are getting to play those teams, we know there's going to be a whole lot of coaches there that may just provide more opportunity for our kids to be seen and be able to go and play college soccer if that's what they'd like to do. So the second event for this JPL league will be December 20th through the 22nd in Mesa, Arizona. And we've already heard people who are concerned about those dates, understandably. But we feel like it's actually a pretty good date because kids will be out of school. We'll travel down to Arizona and we'll get to play these games before Christmas, and then people can get back for whatever plans they may have or even stay, whatever plans they may have. So not ideal, but in order to play in these higher level leagues, it requires a little more commitment from families, and sometimes they'll pick these dates over Thanksgiving, Christmas, 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, things like that, where people have to sacrifice a little bit in order for their kids to play in these higher level events. JPL will be for our teams that are our premier teams, U13 through U19. So our U11, U12 premier teams will just continue to play in the CSA league. It'll look very similar to what it has in the past and play tournaments. Same with our United teams, so it will look very similar to the past. So U13 through U19 JPL teams that are premier teams, we feel like this is a big advantage as far as the competition that we'll play against, adding more games that they'll get to play, and then the fact that we'll play on quality fields for all these really great venues, as well as referees should be more consistent. And then giving us that platform to, if we do really well in the league, to be able to play in this national tournament that takes place in July. And we're fortunate that that also takes place at Dick's Sporting Park in Denver. 13 to 19, boys and girls. This does include our high school kids too. The high school will have showcase events. And there's one date they're trying to figure out. They're possibly going to pair it up with President's Day tournament in February, where it would be a huge showcase where hopefully we could get a whole bunch of college coaches there to see our players. We see this as a really big benefit of JPL for those high school age kids to be seen by college coaches. Just JPL and the future of Fire FC is what we're really excited about. So we see this as an opportunity to grow the club, to improve the club, to increase competition. And one thing that will help with competition is just we're able to build this roster to 26 players. So say if a U12 or U14 boys team, premier team, has 16 players on the roster, for our league games and all that we do with CSA and tournaments and whatever. We can also include we can go up to 26 players, so we could include players from Montrose, Glenwood, whoever may want to join this roster. So if somebody can't make it, we can add players to this roster and increase our chances of being competitive in these JPL games. We also see us maybe growing within this league where we increase our coaching education, because in the future, if our teams do extremely well in the JPL, there's possibility we could go into leagues that require coaches to have certain level of licenses. So it's a good motivator for our coaches as well as our players. And of course, like if the pool is big and the competition's great for 18 spots, we feel like that helps with commitment. And it also creates some ability for multi-sport kids who may not be able to go to JPL weekends to do their basketball or volleyball, whatever that may be. And we still have enough depth for those kids that are really into soccer and want to go to these events with quality teams.
Playing in the JPL League can actually save you quite a bit of money. For our average team that plays in 2 tournaments and wants to maybe do state cup to get into the national kind of realm of soccer, it would cost about $3,700. That would be a Rapids Classic at the beginning of the season. That would be a President's Day tournament come February, and then your state cup. Doing JPL underneath that $2,000 registration fees gives the opportunity to go play at the national level if you do well, and that is already included in that $2,000 of registration. I know Shaun alluded to some of the costs, but I wanted to break it down a little bit more in depth for this JPL league. It is $2,000 a team. If you roster about 16 players, that's $125 a player. You can roster up to 26 players in this league. Obviously, not all can play on game day, but you can have up to 26 players on the roster. So for your $2,000 registration fee, you get 2 main events, which will have 3 games at each event. You'll play on a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, so 1 game per day. Outside of that, you'll also get 2 to 4 more games that will be kind of more of a local type thing. Now, when I say local, I don't necessarily mean just Grand Junction, but somewhere around the vicinity of Utah or maybe over towards Denver, and you'll get 2 to 4 more games there. At each of the events, an extra cost might come in the form of paying referees. You'll actually end up paying referees right before the game's kicked off. So that way you know you're paying for the exact amount of referees that you actually have. Unlike some of the tournaments we've done in the past where when you're going to games, you might have 1 referee or no referees at all. So that's a nice little added bonus. For our 11v11 teams that are participating in the JPL League, the registration will be collected through the process of registering for a club instead of through team managers. This will include all of the JPL registration and coaching fees for the season, but this will not include what will need to be collected to pay referees at each game.
JPL, or the Junior Premier League, is going to give another fantastic opportunity for our players to be exposed to a better level of competition. It's also going to help us be a little bit of a hub for the Western Slope, give opportunities to players from different regions in the Western Slope, whereas they can keep with their local team, whether it be a Montrose, a Glenwood, an Aspen, something like that, and they can join us for the JPL League, being part of US Soccer on a completely different roster. It's going to give them the opportunity to participate in those events and not sacrifice playing for their local clubs. JPL League is set into 7 different regional leagues. Once you have completed that regional league, the winners of each league will then participate in a national event, which is covered already financially. So that's another great opportunity to get a lot of exposure for our kids. So the JPL events, we are only going to be sending our 11v11 teams to that, so U13 and up. The first event is going to be held at Dick's Sporting Park. That is going to be the October 10th to October 12th. That is going to be from U13 all the way through to U15. and you will play 3 games, 1 game each day. So it'll be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday event. The second JPL event will be held in Mesa, Arizona. That is going to be on December 20th through the 22nd. Again, it's going to be set up where you play 1 game each day, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That event will be a U13 all the way through U19, so high school teams will be involved in that. The third event will be more like a regional event. It might be something where we contact teams from like a Salt Lake and a Denver, and maybe they all meet here in Grand Junction, or we have to go to St. George. We will look to play another 2 to 3 regional games in that event, which will total out to being 8 to 9 league games. At the end of those stand-ins, that is where the teams from all 7 different regional leagues, the top teams will then move on to the national event. Obviously, with the first event for JPL not having any high school teams, we will look to find another event for the high school teams to make sure they get their fulfillment of 8 or 9 games in the JPL league. That could happen in November or February. That event is to be decided. Obviously, there are a lot of unknowns with regards to the JPL League, with regards to quality of competition, what clubs are going to be involved. As I've already alluded to, where we're going to get the other high school games in. There's constantly new clubs joining this league, so we're very, very hopeful that the quality is only going to get better. We've heard good things from other clubs that have already participated in this league, and so we think it's going to be an excellent experience for our players.